Another victory. Let's make it 6 straight. Let's make it 5 straight series wins, including taking down the LA Dodgers like it was, I'm not going to say easy work, but a grinded out ball game in the Metropolitan favor. How's it going, everybody? First chiming in live and on replay. It's your boy Wardy, and we're back at it with our latest post-game segment as the Metropolitans take down the LA Dodgers, have won 6 straight games, scoring 6 runs today as they would defeat LA by a final score of 6-4. In today's show, we'll get into all the key highlights and recap, and I won't be too long-winded today. I know we got the New York Knickerbockers playing right now, so my Knicks fans, I know you're locked in on that. I know we got playoff hockey today and tomorrow too, but guys and gals, we got a lot to break down. Another amazing Mets victory, another amazing series victory, folks. Everybody spam those W's in the live chat right now, and everyone watching on replay, drop them down below too. Apologies in advance if I'm a little laggy throughout the show. Hopefully it's nothing too terrible, but again, I appreciate everyone first chiming in live on a replay. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure that like, that follow button, that retweet button, but do know that I will only be interacting per usual here with the chat that we have on YouTube today. So if you want to interact with me and you see me on Twitter, make sure you check out the WardyNYM YouTube channel. Subscribe today as we're trying to get to our next short-term goal of 30K subs. An amazing victory there in LA for the Mets today, and they had everything that you could ask for. They had the power, they had the contact. Yes, they had a lot of guys left in scoring position, but the Dodgers were even worse and then some. This was a strike zone that, unlike yesterday, where it was fair and consistent on both sides and was great, not the same as we got throughout the course of today's game. Not so much in the Mets' favor. Doesn't matter. They would still ultimately get a massive 6-4 victory, headlined by star-studded Starling Marte, looking like the 2022 All-Star that he was. Once again, Francisco Lindor proving that no, yesterday was not a fluke. He's going to continue to hit well, hopefully, from the left side of the plate. We got plenty to get into. The bullpen, I have so many amazing things to say about this bullpen. Reed Garrett casually striking out the side in the 9th inning against the Dodgers in LA. Can we get some love? Can we get some hype in the chat right now, folks? That is what I want to see. LFGM, everybody. Let's keep rolling. All right, folks, I do see a bunch of comments I want to get into. Let's see. Let's go. Chris Scotty, my man, with the $2 holla says, let's go. This team is on fire. Yes, they are, brother. Happy to have you in here. Tingus Pingus with a $5 holla says, Dodgers community is in shambles. $1 billion to get the smack from small market Stearns. You hate to see it, right? You love to see it if you're a Mets fan. LFGM, thank you so much for that, my friend. Really does mean a lot, folks. But guys and gals, you know the drill. It's that time. Let's get into, yes, and I mean it, yes, the official WardyNYM post-game jingle.
Postgame. Postgame. Calling all Met fans, come and join us now. Talking about this game and gonna break it down. It's Mets Postgame.
We love to see it, baby. Again, another amazing victory. How's it going, Sonia? How you doing, Wardy LGM? James, great member. How you doing? Post game, yeah. Mr. Delightful, sweeps in a row. Let's make it happen, baby. I want to see the Mets absolutely sweeping by time they're done in LA before they head to their next trip, which I do believe is against the San Francisco Giants. Let's get some back-to-back sweeps before we get there. I know I'm probably getting selfish, guys. We cannot take this current Metropolitan run for granted whatsoever, folks, and this comes on the same day that unfortunately, Francisco Alvarez goes down on the 15-day IL with a left thumb sprain. We're awaiting word on further imaging if it's going to be more than that, but hopefully, God willing, he's only going to miss around 2 weeks or 3 weeks of play at absolute worst. If we find out any updates, we will discuss them here in the live show. Per usual, though, I see a lot of love. I see a lot of you beauties in here. John, great member. How you doing? Jacob, my amazing editor there on socials. How you doing? All you guys and gals. Kevin Weiss in here. We see Shake. How you doing? Tyler Reed, Giovanni Martinez, says, everybody for chiming in. Thank you all so much for being here, folks. I gotta ask right away, what is your biggest takeaway from today's victory for the Mets? Is it Starling Marte? Is it Francisco Lindor? Is it Edwin Diaz? Is it even Jose Buto working out of some key jams today, even though he certainly did not have his best stuff, facing arguably the best lineup in baseball when they are right? Is it Reed Garrett? Whoever you think is deserving of really being the standout, the player of the game, let me know in the live chat right now. Greatly appreciate it. And again, happy to have all you amazing Mets fans in here as we got ourselves another victory. Another day, another victory in Queens, baby. That is what you love to see. And even though that they were in LA for this one, it doesn't stop the Mets winning ways. That has been my biggest takeaway thus far with the Mets play. It's not even mattering if they're home or away right now. They're continuing to roll, and they've done exactly what I said that they needed and should do, and hopefully will do against a lesser Dodgers team right now that's pressing heavily. If you can work around their top three in the lineup in Betts, in Shohei, in Freeman, you know you have a great chance to succeed. And the Mets walked those guys, I think, a total of 8 times or so today, and that went in hand with their victory. Again, it doesn't need to be the prettiest win. You just got to win ball games, folks, and the Mets are continuing to find ways, surprising us all in more ways than one. Even Joey Wendell, that's someone said, Paul, you're absolutely right. Even Joey Wendell, we're asking for him to be DFA'd yesterday. Today, he comes in with 2 opposite field RBI singles, at least one of which ultimately leading to a run scored. So again, everyone's contributing. Brett Baty, of course, has been out for the past couple games. Of course, there with the hamstring tightness, came in later on in the ball game and looked great defensively, so that's good to see. A lot of positives in Mets land right now. Lindor hits the ball for 2 days in a row, and we all lose our minds. That's how bad he sucks. You are the only fan in the chat, and you will only be the only fan continuing to do that, where you are more focused on Lindor's struggles, and not so much the past couple of games when the Mets have won, but that's still going to overpower your mindset over enjoying the Mets now winning 12 of their past 15 games. It must really suck to be a fan like that. I'm sorry. Like, come on, brother. You're chiming in every day. I know you're supporting the channel. Why can't you get on the wavelength? That is okay. I promise you, it is okay to enjoy the Mets winning. I promise. Because they keep winning when I do. I'm going to keep talking shit Lindor because they keep winning when I... Okay, fair. All right, fine. Fine. I think we can reach in the middle there. That's fair. I'm not even going to argue with that. I like that mentality. I'm a superstitious Mets fan like that myself too. Sometimes if you're out of the room and they score, you stay out of the room, right? If you're not even watching the game and they're playing well, you don't watch. You hold off. So I will give you that one. Fine. We'll reach in the middle there for sure. Let's see. Alvarez to have surgery. No! Don't tell me that. Carlos Mendoza is unsure of the timetable, but confident he will return this year. Francisco Alvarez has a torn ligament in his thumb and will have surgery. It's just like yesterday, son of a... Oh my God. Just like yesterday. Just like yesterday. We can't even enjoy these wins, knowing that Alvy's hurt, and now, of course, he's getting surgery. There's the latest from Francisco Alvarez, folks. Carlos Mendoza said himself a torn ligament in the thumb, and he will have surgery. There's no timetable for his return. We hope to see him back some point this season. Let's not forget that Brett Baty also had surgery on his thumb in a very similar manner not all that long ago, and he missed about 5 weeks. So, again, I'm going to be more on the optimistic side here, but we're at least missing Francisco Alvarez for a month and a half, might even be more than that. So this is brutal. This sucks because we all saw it with our very eyes. Omar Narvaez is horrendous defensively. His frame jobs are brutal. When he provides offense, he gives it up right away with his lack of defensive competency because he allows pitchers to get past him like no tomorrow. Tomas Nido, making his Mets debut today, did exactly what Nido needs to do. Get in front of the ball, especially if you're having a little bit of a wild pitch from your starter. He looked fantastic, or reliever have you. This is very frustrating, folks. Again, I'm happy that the Mets got the dub. I'm happy it's 6 straight. I'm even more happy that's 5th straight series victories. But what I am not happy about and why this is bittersweet all in the end is that El Troll, our young, exciting catcher, who we know hasn't done too much throughout this stretch, but the way that this man steals calls on a night-to-night, day-to-day basis with his phenomenal frame jobs is exactly why I am not looking forward to the stretch of baseball without Alvarez. What we do know, though, is that yes, this is a next man up mentality. mentality. That's what the Mets need to roll with for now. So Narvaez and Nido, you are our backstops for the foreseeable future. And even though that Nido definitely can be an automatic out offensively, I'm taking his defense every single day of the week and on Sunday, so including tomorrow. I wouldn't mind him starting there at the backstop for the Mets with Alvarez out. It's not only sucks, but it's kind of bizarre how Alvarez was able to take advantage of Omar Narvaez's injury right around the same time last year, right? It was in the first month or so of the season, just a couple weeks in, not even. Narvaez was down with injury. Alvarez gets the call up, and the rest is history. Hopefully Narvaez can take advantage of this opportunity, work on his defense more, and provide some offense. And Tomas Vito, again, Tomas, we just need some strong defense that you provide. We know that your eye is certainly better than what it used to be because we know you had your eyes done over the past year and a half. So hopefully Nito can provide the defense that we're looking for, and offense, if it comes, it comes. But it's not something that I'm betting on or banking on right now. Frank, thank you so much for the $10 holla. I appreciate that. It really does mean a lot, my man. John Rossi, let's see. John says with a $2 donation, bullpen is nasty. Reed and Diaz are 100% legit. Absolutely, my man. Thank you so much for the donation, John Rossi. Longtime follower, longtime member here on the channel. LA Dodgers deferred ain't shit. Marte healthy. You love to see it, Peter. Thank you for the $2 holla. That means a lot too, folks. But yes, if you're first chiming in now, folks, it is in fact looking like Francisco Alvarez is going to miss a period of time, unfortunately, with injury. To what degree, for how long, we will find out, of course, as he builds up and gets, figured out when he's fully healed up, goes through rehab and all those kind of things. But no less, this is brutal to hear. Not fun, not at all. Apologies, folks. I just had to go and tweet that. Rest up, Alvy. Hopefully he does, in fact, get out there sooner than later. Right now, again, if this is at all similar to Brett Beatty's injury, Beatty was out for around 5 weeks when this happened to his thumb and he had to have surgery. So, again, it's not the most bizarre injury to happen. It is fairly common that we've seen already in the organization. But for me, knowing that this is a thumb where Alvarez has had problems in the past, it's his left thumb. Of course, that's his catching thumb. So it's going to take a while until he has comfortability and is able to manage pain even to utilize that with the glove on while he's catching on an everyday basis. So Alvarez, again, we're wishing him all the best. We certainly wish him a speedy recovery, but man, oh man, is it brutal to see him hurt already at this point in the season. God willing, it isn't any worse than what it is right now. Has to get the surgery because of the torn ligament, and we go from there, everybody. So now, folks, let's break down the ball game again. The Mets win by a final score of 6-4, but unfortunately, the Alvarez injury has just put such a gut punch to me as a Mets fan who's trying to enjoy another series dub. But seriously, it's frustrating to say the least to see that injury happen. Let's just hope for the best and go from there. Where's surgery info coming from? It's coming from Carlos Mendoza and the Mets postgame themselves, just in case you guys and gals are wondering where that information is coming from. Austin, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Austin says, Narvaez sucks. Keep Nido. Trade for a good catcher, says Austin. Okay, appreciate the donation, my friend. I'll be surprised if the Mets trade for anyone of significance, but I definitely could see them looking to acquire a Michael Perez type again, basically, to just come give them some cushion if Narvaez or Nido goes down with injury too, or if they're just playing so poorly that's like you can't even warrant playing them in the lineup. Thankfully, I guess the one and most important thing about this, when evaluating Francisco Alvarez's injury, is that it is coming at probably the best time for the Mets as things currently stand. Aside from his great defense, which we know has impacted this pitching greatly, we know that Alvarez is one of these guys that was laboring plenty offensively over the past week and a half, 2 weeks now, throughout the Mets' entire stretch for the most part. So, Alvarez, you're not losing much on the offensive production with how the team's currently performing, but you're going to miss him more than you think on the defensive end, and we're going to find that out quickly for ourselves, which started again with Narvaez getting the start for then Tomas Nido to come in later on in the ballgame. But folks, I got my notes right here. There is a lot that transpired in this ballgame, and I don't want to waste too much more time, so let's start breaking down together, okay? And again, if you're first chiming in live on a replay, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for all your Mets coverage on news, rumors, pregame, postgame. We'll be doing watch parties soon enough as well. We will be taking live callers playing this year too in the 162 season. Again, appreciate the love, guys. Thank you so much. Now let's get into this one, folks. Again, the Metropolitans today struck out a total of 14 batters against the LA Dodgers today. You love to see that. The Mets struck out playing times themselves. It was, again, a lot of pitching, a lot of arms used by both sides, but it goes in the Mets' favor because they were able to pounce enough with runners in scoring position the way that the Dodgers simply couldn't, because once you got through the murderer's row of that 1, 2, 3 in the lineup, it was a lot more of an open game to be had, especially against the Teoscar Hernandez, who did a phenomenal job by supporting the Mets today. So yes, torn ligament, of course, there for Francisco Alvarez on the update. Again, hopefully we will have him back as soon as humanly possible once he returns from injury and gets built up through rehab. No less there in the first inning, guys. WardyNYM with a walk and a stolen base. He then gets to third base on a wild pitch. WardyNYM with phenomenal heads-up base running today, and the Mets would pounce right after because Francisco Lindor drives in his first run of the day. That would be an RBI double. The Mets take an early 1-0 lead, folks. And you know what I say if you've been following the channel? I love players. I love the team getting up early and often, especially against a Dodgers club where you know that they can pounce at any certain point when they're playing the right baseball. Thankfully, because the Mets play right now and because the way the Dodgers have been, free falling, it's the perfect storm in the Mets' favor and not in the Dodgers' favor. I also apologize if I get a little out of focus here, but I won't focus on that too much as I'm reading off the list for the stats that happened in this ball game. But as we get to the after we see the huge hit there by Lindor to give the Mets a 1-0 lead, DJ would get on with a walk, McNeil would get on with a walk. Mets have bases loaded in that situation. They're not able to convert, however, as Harrison Bader would ground out to end the inning. Bader, after having himself a 4-hit game yesterday, had himself an 0 for today, including some key spots for runners in scoring position. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We move on, and we still got the victory in the end, so I'm not going to complain all that much. The bullpen has been stupendous. You absolutely are correct, Toro in chat. Appreciate you. Let's see. Alvarez told teammates the timetable for returning is 6 to 8 weeks. That's pretty much on par. So Beatty came back in 5 weeks. Given the fact that Alvarez is, again, a catcher, 6 to 8 weeks seems about reasonable. So, okay, Francisco Alvarez, from the man's mouth himself, has told his teammates reportedly today, according to that being Mike Puma of the New York Post, folks. You can see it here with me. 6 to 8 weeks is what we're looking at Francisco Alvarez missing. So, at minimum, the next month and a half, we are not going to have Francisco Alvarez in the lineup, everybody. So how can we prevail without him? How can we prevail without his defensive upside? It's going to be very interesting to see this all play out. So again, if it's 6 to 8 weeks, that's much better than, say, missing him for the vast majority of the season. A month and a half to worst 2 months is not the end of the world. Just sucks, though, because Alvarez was a guy that I really thought was going to find himself in the 30-35 home run category this year. So you can kiss my bets goodbye with our amazing sponsor at BetUS. Shame on me for hammering the futures. You wish you would get something in your favor when injuries like this happen where you can get out of it without a problem, but it is what it is. Francisco Alvarez, again, looking like he's going to miss at least 6 to 8 weeks. So now let's get back into breaking this down, folks, in the ballgame. Again, the Mets are up 1-1. In the bottom of the first, though, Mookie Betts with the double, Ohtani with a walk. Freddie Freeman makes up for his 3 strikeouts yesterday, this time with an RBI single. Tio with a strikeout. We see Max Muncy with a walk. Outman with a strikeout, and then Paez with a strikeout ends it. So Jose Buto got worked plenty there in the first, had multiple guys get on base, walking everyone and their mother, but he would strike out the side after allowing the bases to get loaded, and that was absolutely huge. We get to the second, I believe that was the inning. If not, certainly the second inning coming. But no less, folks, we then get to the top of the second. Joey Wendell, who had a lack of defensive upside yesterday. It was not a defensive masterclass, but a defensive shit class. I don't even know what to call it. I couldn't get proper wordplay for that one. I apologize. I'm not always going to have it. I'm going to swing and miss a bunch of times today, just like Teoscar Hernandez. Am I right? No less than the top of the second. Wendell with an opposite field single. Narvaez with a double play thereafter. Nimmo gets on via a walk. Nimmo will get on 4 times today, all via either walks or hit by pitches. Nothing else. Mets would not score there. And as we get to the bottom of the second, with 2 outs, you see Betts gets a walk on a strike 3 call. Up high and away is a fastball away there to Mookie Betts. That was absolutely there, right dotted, perfect paint. It is called a ball, however. This is where the ump starts to piss me off because there was not consistency from both sides today. Some of the calls that we saw in the second half of the game especially were not going at all the Mets the same way that placement was being utilized by the Dodgers and executed and called properly when it was on the Dodgers side, but not when it was on the Mets side. But thankfully, again, they still got the win, so it only matters so much in the end. Am I right? So there we see Betts again again with, as we get to the second, Betts with a walk, of course, even though it really was a strike 3 and a stolen base. Ohtani with a walk, Freeman with a walk. This is the nastiness again of Jose Butto working out of his jams. You're literally looking at with 2 outs, bases loaded with the 3-headed monster and Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman, and that's okay, because all you gotta do is strike out a swing-happy Teoscar Hernandez today, and that's how you're gonna get out of the jam the way that Jose Butto certainly did. As we then get to the top of the third, baby, we see there with 2 outs, DJ with a walk, Jeff McNeil, more like Jeff McDoubles. Jeff continues to go gap to gap or down the line. A beautiful double there by McNeil, and it wouldn't be his last hit of the day if I'm not mistaken. Bader then would fly out, unfortunately, to end the inning. Nice swing, just fell there in left field, which has been the case in Dodger Stadium. It has been hard for that ball to fly out there, especially at nighttime like we saw yesterday, where both Mets and Dodgers alike, everything was dying by the warning track. Everything. Beatty did not have a hit today, unfortunately, but he was in there, though. He did come in as a pinch hitter later on, and then was in there to play defense for the remainder of the game, folks. Let's see here, though, as we advance further. I'm actually going to... Okay, I think the camera is good for the most part now on my end, so that's happy to see. Let's see, folks, as we advance further on in the ball game here. We were just talking about the third inning there. Now let's get to the bottom of the third, as Jose Butto would have his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. Butto looking solid, a strikeout or 2 in there. And then as we get to the top of the fourth, Joey Wendell with an opposite field single and a stolen base, Nimmo with a hit by pitch, and Marte with an RBI single. His first multiple runs that he would drive in today would give the Mets there, have them increase the lead. You'll love to see it, or at least they got the lead back, rather. 2-1 Mets as we get to the bottom of the fourth, as Butto has himself his second and final 1-2-3 inning of the day, because in the fifth, Ohtani gets on with a walk, Teoscar gets on with a hit by pitch, Michael Tonkin comes in the game, he gives up an RBI sac fly that would be charged to Jose Butto, and Jose Butto would ultimately have a final line of the following, folks, as you all see here. Jose Butto, and I had the wrong thing there, so my apologies, everybody. Why does that say Sean Manaea? I thought I updated this from yesterday, but of course it didn't update it. So give me 1 second, everybody. I also apologize about the jingle and all that stuff running for 1 second. That drives me up a wall. I literally had this set up hours ago today, and I guess because I went out and back into my software, it's like, you know what? We're not going to show it, and that's just how it's going to be. So shame on me. It is what it is, though. So now let me update this for you all briefly. But as I'm working on that, I'll just continue to talk about the ball game here, because Jose Butto, again's final line will be 4.2 innings, only allowed 2 earned runs, but did walk at least 5 batters, struck out 6, and now has a 1.65 ERA on the season. What stood out so much about Jose Butto today, in my opinion, it was not only the bulldog mentality that he had to grind out this kind of outing that he had, but most importantly, it was his ability to get out of these jams, and a lot of them unscathed. I mean, for Jose Butto to only give up 2 earned runs with the second earned run coming because of Michael Tonkin coming in relief for him is very impressive. See, 4.1 innings of 3 hit, 2 earned run ball, 5 strikeouts, 6 hits. That changeup looked disgusting when it was locating, it was on, and this was far from an easy outing that we saw for Jose Butto today, but he showed that mental toughness and that fortitude that you look for in a young starter like Butto. He continues to impress me, even against this Dodgers lineup. Again, he made the right amount of moves, and if it wasn't for that heavy work first inning, he probably goes at least 5 for the Mets today. But all things considered, Jose Butto could have gotten a much worse outing than what we saw here, so I'm going to give a tip of the cap to him. Did what he needed to do at the end of the day, and again, he helped keep the Mets in this ball game, which was massive. Enrique, thank you so much for the $10 holla. Enrique, my man who was at the Mets-Dodgers game yesterday, you love to see it. Wardy, what do you think about bringing up Parada? Perfect time for it. Let's see what he's got. I mean, I don't think you need to rush up Parada personally, and here's the thing, Kevin Parada in limited playing time, I'm not sure how he's going to be much better than what you're currently getting. Kevin Parada is not a defensive masterclass either. He was a first bat when the Mets drafted him out of Georgia Tech, so I do have some reservations on wanting to rush up Kevin Parada, but if the Mets do decide at some point that they do want to give him a shot because, say, Narvaez and Nito after a week or two is not cutting it, I'm all for that opportunity. I'm all for that possibility. Now is the time, and now is the year to do those kind of things, so sign me up. But as I mentioned, don't be surprised if the Mets do not do that because of the reasons that I just mentioned. As you see from the rest of the pitching, though, Michael Tonkin is doing everything he can to get DFA'd by the Mets again. I understand he's facing the LA Dodgers, and I understand that he's the kind of guy that's supposed to be in there in really tough spots, but it does not change the fact that Michael Tonkin has yet to provide any solid outing for the Mets for the most part. While this is his second time already on the team this season, folks, the second time. Yes, so we're only, 3 or so weeks into the season? Absolutely nuts. 3 or 4. I'm losing track over here. No less, Butto final line. We discussed that, folks, as we see there in the, after Tonkin gets out of that, allowing just that one run. We then get to the 6th, where Zach Short comes in for a pinch hit facing the lefty. He gets on via walk. Nimmo with the hit by pitch. Marte with a 3-run ding-dong, everybody. Star-studded Starling Marte is so back. He is back like never before. Marte is defying the odds, not looking like a man that couldn't even do lateral movement with those hips last season. He is looking like the 2022 Marte, the Marte that the Mets invested $80+ million in on a multi-year deal at the conclusion of the 2021 season, heading into 2022. I am loving what I'm seeing from Starling Marte, and trust me when I say that he is a massive focal point in this offense right now, folks. How many of you were just hoping that Starling Marte could be somewhat of a factor for the Mets this year, just hoping that he wouldn't be this dead weight that you carry all year? By a show of hands, you probably find yourself in the same category as me, right? And when we look at Starling Marte, what he has been able to do this season, everybody, has been absolutely brilliant. As we look at the stat line today, Starling Marte is now batting .282 this season with a .789 OPS, including the massive 3-run ding-dong and 4 RBIs he had today, which is why if I did do a player of the game, it would absolutely be Starling Marte today. He stood out big time. He deserved the kudos, and he's continuing to swing a really nice bat in that 2-hole in this lineup. It's working. If it ain't broke, why fix it? The Mets are like, we're going to continue to roll with what we got, and I think that is the right thing to do after you win 12 of your past 15 games. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. And final thing, Mets fans, before I get on to breaking more down about the ball game, I appreciate everyone watching live on a replay. Smash a like and subscribe on for your boy. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this 6-4 victory and another series victory here for the New York Metropolitans. But my question to all you folks here in the chat right now is not only who you would have as your player of the game, but ultimately what has stood out so much for you throughout this stretch of ball games for the Mets. For them to win 5 consecutive series, what do you think has been their biggest stronghold, their biggest focal point? Because for me, it's something that I emphasized there on the fan a couple days ago, and I'll say it again, it is this damn bullpen. The offense has been great in rallying and doing what they need to do later in games and not rolling over and dying the way we saw in the first 5 games, but this Mets bullpen has been nothing short of tremendous, and I have no clue where this team would be without it. No less, we get back to the 6th inning, folks. Again, Marte with a 3-run ding-dong. The Mets at that point find themselves with a 5-2 lead. Then in the bottom of the 6th, Pies with a hit by pitch, Lux with a single, Barnes with a strikeout. Drew Smith then comes in the game for Michael Tonkin, who again, Tonkin did absolutely nothing for us. Drew Flo comes in. He gives up a walk to Mookie Betts, which is a commonplace thing in today's game. Ohtani with a strikeout, huge strikeout, beautiful cutter, perfectly placed there by Drew Smith. He would ultimately give up a couple runs to make it a 1-run ball game because Freddie Freeman got his number there. Freddie Freeman has more RBIs against the Mets than any other player against the Mets in baseball currently. He is that good, Freddie. We know it's just a matter of time for him to start swinging right against the Metropolitans out of all teams. It's a 5-4 ball game, but thankfully Max Muncy's first pitch swinging afterwards, and Pete Alonso with a beautiful diving play at first base to make the tag and get him out in time to get out of that inning still up by a run, and the Mets would hold on to that lead for the remainder of the ball game. Because in the 7th, DJ Stewart gets on with a walk. Jeff McNeil with his 2nd double of the day. Yes, I hope you guys are hammering your McDoubles for dinner the way that I am, baby. You love to see it on this 420, no less. So maybe it's even more imperative for you to want to see the Mets. And when I talk about 420, folks, can we all just take a moment? Again, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. It is absolutely time to smoke on that Dodgers pack, okay? You took the first 2 in LA in dramatic fashion, fantastic fashion. You're beating them. Now, I shouldn't say easily, but you're beating them in manners that's just so impressive to see. The Mets have looked like the better team throughout the first 2 games, and that is shown against a team that spent over $1.1 billion this offseason, folks. So you gotta love that. Enjoy every second of it. Smoke on that Dodgers pack however which way you want, whether you're smoking air, whether it's a cigar, whether it's what 420 is all about, doesn't matter to me. Enjoy your Saturday evening the best way you guys and gals know how to possible. In the top of the 7th, though, as I mentioned there, we would see McNeil with the double. Beatty would come in and pinch hit against Vesia, lefty on lefty. He would fly out there to right field, and if DJ Stewart wasn't at third base, the Mets do probably score there because DJ just doesn't have the legs. When you have a teddy bear running bases, you know, you're not going to have too much speed naturally. And then Tyrone Taylor comes in for a deep dead center fly out as a pinch hitter to end the inning, where the Mets were not able to convert there with guys on the corners, unfortunately. Runners on 2nd and 3rd at least. Tyrone Taylor, beautiful swing, just got under it, which is why I felt fell short there around the warning track there in center field, folks. But as we get on later on the ball game, in the bottom of the 7th, Lopez and Nido come in. Jorge Lopez comes in to pitch, Tomas Nido comes in to catch, and he looks solid. But Jorge Lopez, like first pitch he throws, James Outman with a single in the gap, Baez with a double play. It's reviewed after because thankfully Outman was a schmuck and got in the running lane there past the second base. It was a legal play by him there with McNeil, and that gets the double play. And a quick out afterwards, Jorge Lopez has a 5-pitch outing there in the 7th inning. And then, as we would see in the top of the 8th, folks, Starling Marte reaches on a Mookie Betts error and a stolen base. And trust me, guys, when I say Mookie Betts is a tremendous talent, he may very well win NL MVP this year. And while he's great and while he's all these things, the one thing Mookie Betts has yet to be, as things currently stand, is a defender like Francisco Lindor at the shortstop position. And that was a great example of exactly that. Lindor 9 out of 10 times does not make that error. This is Mookie's second error already of the series from the shortstop position. As I know, this is the first time he's playing there since high school. I expect hiccups. We're seeing that before our very eyes. But the Mets are able to take advantage of these opportunities, which is huge. Because yes, Francisco Lindor drives him in with an opposite field RBI single from the left side of the plate. It is Frankie's second RBI of the day. And for the Mets here, they have themselves a 6-4 lead, which is exactly what they had once Lindor ripped that 2-run ding-dong to right yesterday to give them a 6-4 lead. The Mets went on, of course, to win with 9 runs in their favor. Today it was just 6-4, but kind of funny how around the same time we would see that same kind of matchup happen when looking at the score for the Mets. 6-4 lead with Francisco Lindor's second RBI of the day there. And then as we find ourselves in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out, Mookie Betts with a walk, Edwin Diaz comes in, cue the trumpets, baby. Sugar had far from the cleanest outing, but he did what he needed to do, and Edwin Diaz once again proved why he is one of, if not the best reliever in Major League Baseball. We would see Betts with a stolen base thereafter. Ohtani and Freeman are walked because the ump is absolutely squeezing Edwin Diaz to death. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for an umpire that only calls strikes. I'm all for that. We saw that yesterday. The ump yesterday was fantastic. Today, where I have a problem is where you're going to give Gavin Stone and others calls up and in, just out of the zone, that you're not giving to Edwin Diaz. Down on the corners, just touching on the outside, you're not giving whatsoever. Very frustrating to me. Edwin Diaz allows, again, the big boppers to get on base for the Dodgers, but he gets out of the jam unscathed because he does what Edwin Diaz does best, and that is striking out batters left and right. Teoscar Hernandez, how you doing? You're out of here. Easy K for Edwin. Max Muncy never stood an effing chance, and that's how he gets out of the jam unscathed. Edwin Diaz with a massive 8th inning to evade the bases loaded situation with multiple outs. Edwin Sugar, we love you. We're so happy to have you back, and this is what we get, baby, after he hasn't pitched in the last 5 days. Comes out today and gets massive outs for the Mets, as they wouldn't even need to rely on him as we get to the 9th inning, folks, because in the 9th inning, Reed Garrett shuts down the door. 1, 2, 3. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Reed Garrett has a strikeout rate now north, if not higher, than 60% currently. That is how good he is pitching right now. Who in God's name is Reed Garrett? That's probably a question you're asking yourself, and rightfully so. But Reed Garrett now, folks, has pitched 10 plus beautiful, masterful innings for the Mets where he has yet to allow an earned run. He has been an absolute bulldog. We love you, Reed Garrett. We love this Mets bullpen. And as we take a look at the remainder of the Mets pitching today, again, it tells the story itself, folks. They screw Michael Tonkin, take him to the side for a second. I don't hate you, Michael, but you are not helping your cause right now whatsoever. Drew Smith, again, did what he needed to do. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a jam there, but Drew Smith, all things considered, could have been a much worse outing for him too when taking on Tonkin there. Jorge Lopez, of course, with the 1.1 scoreless, the hit and the walk, a 1.69. Nice, if you know, you know, ERA on the season. Edwin Diaz there again just got the job done. A couple walks, a couple strikeouts, just over a 1 ERA. And then Reed effing Garrett, guys. I cannot say enough amazing things about Reed Garrett and how disgusting he has looked. And as we take a look at our friends here at Baseball Savant, let me look at Reed Garrett just for a second, guys. He's just been so disgusting. I have to look at Reed Garrett and the type of pitches that he's throwing right now, guys. If you look at his Savant page, it is a thing of beauty. And as we go to player breakdowns at Baseball Savant right now, let's go down here to Reed Garrett. Reed, what did you give me today, Reed? Reed, what you gave me was the splitty, topping out on 88 and sitting 87 on the average. Then the slide piece, top of 92, averaging 91. Sweeper 85, averaging 84. The four seam touching 97 and sitting 97. And the sinker sitting 96. You love to see it. This guy is absolutely disgusting. Not only with the sinker when he has it right, the splitty is just a thing of beauty. I'm loving his ability to run in on the hands of those righty batters especially. It's just masterful work. Reed Garrett, thank you for your service. The 31-year-old, 16th round draft pick all those years ago, is under team control with the Mets for a very long period of time. So hopefully this is just the start of an amazing reliever in Queens for a long period of time. And hopefully not just a little one-off where we're getting brilliance out of nothing and then it's on to the next once he gets worked a couple times. Reed Garrett looks like he's not only here to stay, but could very well be one of the most impactful relievers for the Mets this year as long as they continue to utilize him properly and he can stay healthy. Lots to love there from Reed Garrett and what has been a tremendous outing for him and just a tremendous overall start to the season, folks. You really do love to see it. Why is Mookie Betts playing shortstop? Because of their current configuration. They don't want Gavin Lux there, so that certainly goes in hand. And Mookie is the utmost perfect athlete. He's that one guy that you could throw at any position and you know he's going to play at least at a league average level, if not above league average, when everything is going right. Yes, the Alvarez news hurts. Trust me when I say it hurts a lot, folks. It really, really does. Garrett has control until 2030. This is what I mean. You love to see it. Hopefully, again, we can look at that and down the years say, wow, Reed Garrett was the Mets' best reliever for like 2-3 years. That'd be awesome, right? Or not even best. Just, again, a very serviceable guy, which he has been. And he did sign Reed Garrett. That's true. Shout out to Billy Epler for making a couple of nice moves, including the Reed Garrett acquisition, should that have been true, folks. But as we get back down into breaking down more about the ballgame, folks, I got a big question for you. We saw the Mets win 6-4 today. We saw their offensive showing. Actually, let's go down the list offensively here for a minute. Let's do it together. Again, Brandon Nimmo was batting leadoff today that we saw. Brandon Nimmo, when we look at the overall numbers today, Brandon got on base 4 times today, 2 via walk and 2 via hit by pitch, as I mentioned. Brandon Nimmo is now batting 205 with a 726 OPS on the season. Starling Marte, as we mentioned, a 282 average, 789 OPS. Francisco Lindor is just below the Mendoza line. He is slowly but surely crawling up there. 181 average with a 563 OPS. Pete Alonso, 241, 820 OPS. DJ Stewart, 226 with over 1,000 OPS. He went over today but had 3 walks, so he did his part by getting on base. Unfortunately, the Mets just weren't able to drive him in. Jeff McNeil, 2 for 4 today with 2 doubles. He's now batting 250 with a 726 OPS, batting 6 today, moved up from his usual 7 spot. Harrison Bader, 0 for 5 today, still batting over 300 with a 725 OPS. Joey Wendell, 2 for 2 in a run scored today, batting 333 with a 757 OPS. Zach Short with a run scored after a walk against a lefty reliever. Brett Beatty, 0 for 2 today with a 295 average and a 709 OPS. Omar Narvaez, 0 for 2, 200 average, sub 500 OPS. Tyrone Taylor, 0 for 1 with the pinch hit, 333 average, 822 OPS. And Tomas Nido did not have himself an at-bat in today's game, just came in to catch later on, and that was that. So Mets, we got exactly what we were hoping for. When we look at the totals today too, just to expand a little bit further here, everybody, again, the Mets had a 264 expected batting average to the 228 of the Dodgers, so the luck was certainly on the Mets side in that sense because they were the better team overall today. They had 8 hits to the Dodgers 6, and for anyone on the Dodgers side complaining about the umps or officials, I'm sorry, you have no clue what you're talking about. Did we watch the same ball game? The Mets got absolutely screwed and squeezed on multiple calls later on, and the Outman call, you can boo all you want. It was clear as day interference there with Jeff McNeil at second base. We're taking that double play every single day of the week, and we are taking the series double like no tomorrow. But you know what? We're feeling a little greedy right now, Mets fans. I know we all want it together. Let's get the damn sweep. Let's break out the brooms tomorrow. I know we're facing Tyler Glass now. I know it'll be far from easy against one of the best young right-handers in Major League Baseball. Yes, we're not facing the veteran southpaw James Paxton. We're facing Tyler Glass now tomorrow against Adrian Hauser. That feels like the game where the Dodgers are going to pounce on Hauser and the Mets are going to lose. And even if that happens, it's not the end of the world. We move on. We go on to the next, as we always will, folks. But let me make sure also that I do have all the hitting stats correct for you. I do believe I do there with Lindor. Okay, yep, everything's up to date on that front for the most part. But when looking at the Mets and what they're able to do against Tyler Glass now, even if they do labor, we already got the series dub, which is awesome. So I would love to see the Mets free swinging big time tomorrow. Again, try to get up early and often against Glass now. And if you can't, just continue to be that Mets team that we have seen this season where they have been able to take full advantage of the opportunities that opposing teams have given them with a lack of defensive upside, with poor base running, or in the case here for the Mets, what we have seen a lot has, again, just been late game rallies, even while they've had the lead. Again, the Mets had themselves a 4-0 lead yesterday. They lost it, they got it back, and then some, and then added insurance. Today, the Mets had the early lead, they lost it, but they have not wavered for the most part. They have looked fantastic when giving up the lead, knowing they're going to bounce back right away. And this Mets team, again, if they could pull off a sweep, that's awesome. But Mets fans, and I cannot emphasize this enough, savor every single second of the way the Mets are playing right now. We're not going to see the Mets play baseball like this all season long. We're going to have many doom and gloom streams that we always do in a normal 162, even in a season where you make playoffs per se and everything goes right. The Mets winning 12 of their past 15 games. Seriously, enjoy this, savor this, because it can be right before our very eyes where the Mets find themselves on a losing skid or just become more of that 500 ball club. Win one, lose one, win two, lose two before we know it. Not that I wish it, but again, we know that a lot happens in a 162. It's April 20th, 2024 at the time of recording this. This may very well be one of, if not the best stretch of baseball the Mets have all season. So folks, if you haven't been paying attention, start to pay attention now while they still have it going. Enjoy this amazing baseball, because I assure you that as much as I would like to suggest otherwise, we will have plenty of conversations this year where we're talking about losses. So enjoy this stretch. It's awesome. I can't remember many times in my young fandom as a Mets fan where we've seen stretches to this magnitude, not only the way that they're winning, but more, actually I should say, in the way that they're winning mainly, because of the fact that they're continuing to find ways, whether it's their huge bullpen stepping up, whether it's the offensive heroics with a Francisco Lindor finally breaking out and being an X-factor game by game that we saw in this Dodgers series thus far, whether it's a Starling Marte doing what he needs to do, whether it's Harrison Bader in the bottom of the order, whether it's Brett Beatty getting on base every time out there when he's healthy, whoever it may be, the Mets have the weapons to find consistency, but we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, because again, this is the big bad Dodgers off to a less than ideal start that they were hoping to have this season. And while it's a 162, even with a team on paper looking like the best thing since sliced bread, the best thing since man-made fire, it does not change the fact that anything, and I mean anything, can happen in Major League Baseball. So enjoy this while you certainly can. But folks, before we get on to further on the ball game, I got to let you know about my amazing sponsor, as they're coming out with an amazing promo. BetUS, who has you covered for all your sports betting needs. We're going to be trying to be back here for our pregame coverage tomorrow. Wasn't able to today. And for those that tailed my bet yesterday for my 3-pick parlay, I went 2 for 3 on the parlay. Hammered Mets money line at plus 170. That hit. So if you guys just took that, you came out like bandits. Easy W, easy money. If you hammered Arizona Diamondbacks run line as the underdog the way I did, you absolutely love to see it. They smoked Blake Snell yesterday and the San Francisco Giants 15-1. They lost today, but that's okay because I didn't have them in my bet. And then the third and last but not least, the bet that did not hit, I'm trying to think, because the D-backs hit and we saw the Mets hit. There was one that didn't. I don't know why I'm already blanking. I just know I went 2 for 3 in the matchup, and we're going to be breaking down those parlays and those picks of the day in our pregame segment tomorrow, folks. But when it comes to BetUS, I got to let you all know, folks, about, yes, they want a wiener connoisseur. If you've been following the channel, you know what this means, but I am not bluffing, folks. The BetUS fam are hiring a wiener connoisseur. What does that mean? What that means is, folks, if you love glizzies, if you want the opportunity to go to every single Major League ballpark this season, all 30, and try to find the best tasting, the best size, the best girth, pause, I'm not even joking, size does matter, folks, as you see here from BetUS themselves. They're looking for people who have not only strong opinion and taste in hot dogs, but can differentiate the difference between a grilled and a boiled dog, which is better, which is more verse for a baseball game. And they like the idea of people having the literal idea of a sausage fest with a smile on their face. Again, this is not a joke. This is a legit promo. The longest length, the best diameter, the weight, and the price. And folks, if you are selected to do this, they're going to give you $2,500 in cash just for accepting it and being their wiener connoisseur to hit these ball games. You're going to get a $500 gift card at MLB Shop Gift, and and you're going to get a 1 year of subscription to MLB.TV by clicking the second link in the description down below. Not the one for your typical 125% bonus sign up for your first 3 deposits. You guys can surely do that for your sports betting needs, but if you want to apply today, literally, folks, they are paying for your airfare and your tickets, pretty much all expenses paid for you to travel around the country this season and try every single hot dog imaginable at these ballparks and make the conclusion as to which ones are the best and why. So sign up today by applying to their official Wiener Connoisseur promo down below, clicking the link, and make sure you explain in the description here what separates you from the rest that makes you a true Wiener Connoisseur. That means that you have better taste buds and know how to evaluate glizzies better than the next guy. Whatever your thoughts are, again, drop them down below, folks. And once more, shout out to BetUS, who has you covered with all your sports betting needs. And this, in fact, is absolutely absurd. Wardy, Ron Box, what are you talking about, Ron Box? What am I missing there? Ron Box score? Do I have the Ron Box score? Bear with me, everybody. Where do I have the Ron Box score? The Mets won by, am I going nuts? Mets won 6-4. You guys are calling me, you're confusing me now. What is it, everybody? Mets won 6-4. I don't know if I had anything wrong there or not. But shout out to BetUS. I know that promo is insane. I absolutely love every single second of it. I have so much fun reading it off, and I really hope you guys have, in fact, applied if you haven't already. It's a literal sausage fest, Justin, and I'm not joking. Not joking at all. Keep your eyes on the pitcher count. How different is when Narvaez and Nido? Oh, it's significantly different. It's not only that, you're going to see as we go passing day by day, you guys and gals are going to see the difference and the type of impact Nido has defensively for this club versus what you're going to have there in, yes, Omar Narvaez. Yes, look at Lindor. What am I looking at Lindor for? Need him in the middle. Are you just saying yes? Are you hyped up? 100%. Me too, Daniel. I hear you there, folks. But everybody, we are going to wrap up the show in the next minute or two. So let me know any final thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns you got for me as the Mets take down the big bad Dodgers here by a final score of 6-4. Their heroics came from Francisco Lindor, star-studded Starling Marte, and plenty others getting on base at a good clip. But this Mets bullpen was once again the unsung hero, doing exactly what we need them to do. Lindor looking right now at 164. He's at 184 right now, so a little bit better at least than that. Let's see. This team is here to stay. They are going to be all in at the trade deadline on July 30th. They are a legitimate playoff contender. As things currently stand, they absolutely are that. But again, a big task is how they're going to be able to handle a Francisco Alvarez-less team for at least 1.5 to 2 months, right? Francisco Alvarez, even when he can be streaky with his hitting, his defense is fantastic on a night-to-night, day-by-day basis. Losing that is going to be huge, so we're going to see what happens on that front, folks. Let's see here. Honestly, Nido might get a decent amount of starts. He may, because of his defense, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. At this point, with the way that this Mets offense is swinging the bat, I can care less if the catching spot is going to be the glaring hole, as long as that is not making or breaking Mets ball games consistently on the day-to-day. Lindor heating up is good, says Ralph. Offense should be straight even without Alvy. I agree with you there. I do, but it definitely does suck to not see him for a period of time now after all the excitement we initially had heading into the season. But Mets fans, I don't know where we are in the like count. Continue smashing those buttons, but I'm going to wrap things up, folks, because I want to watch the remainder of that Knicks-Sixers game, whatever is left of it at the moment, and I'm going to check out more hockey. We got hockey tomorrow with the Rangers playing 2 against the Caps, right an hour before the Mets game start around 3 p.m. Eastern. Mets play at 4 p.m. Hope to see you guys for pregame coverage, but at absolute worst, it'll be just postgame tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. The Mets take down the Dodgers. They've won their 5th straight series. They have won 6 straight games, and they look to add more with hopefully a 2nd consecutive series sweep, this time against the Dodgers. Thank you all so much. Love you to death. And as always, let's go back.